Hello everyone. Today we are going to move the part 2 of chapter 8 control statements. As I mentioned in previous lecture, there are mainly two types of control statements. One is branching and one is looping. In the first part of this chapter, I have discussed about branching, the selection structures, if else, nested if else and switch. Today I will explain about looping and few more statements that you want to know in C programming. Okay, let's move. Looping. Looping is another type of control statements using in C language. Looping statements are used to execute a group of statements repeatedly until some condition has been satisfied. For example, in an ATM machine, menus are displayed repeatedly one after another until you successfully get done your work. And another example is most of the media players have facility to play a media track repeatedly. Those are examples for looping. There are three types of looping statements in C language: while, do while and for. In the Fundamentals of Algorithms lecture, part 2, we have discussed about these looping structures as repetition structures. Here we are going to discuss how those repetition structures, or we can say looping structures, applying into the C programming. The first one is while statement. The general form of the while statement is while, then expression inside of the parenthesis and statement, where the expression is usually a logical expression. You can see an example in the slide. In there I have given the expression inside of the parenthesis count is less than 10. So this while statement is executing until the condition count is less than 10 is satisfied. And the statement can be either simple or compound. If it is compound, it must be enclosed with curly braces. If it is simple, no need to put the curly braces. If you want, you can give, but that is not necessary. Here you can see a simple example in the slide. While, then the condition or expression inside of the parenthesis count is less than 10. Then I have given two statements to evaluate until the condition is true. So that is a compound statement. That's why I have used curly braces in here. Printf function and next line count plus plus increment operator. How this works? This will check the count variable first. So the count variable have been declared and initialized at the beginning of the block int count equals 0. So first it will check the condition. Now count is 0, 0 is less than 10. So the compound statement will be executed. Printf, it will print the 0 and count plus plus increment operator. So 0 plus 1, 1. Now count variable is 1. So again it will check the condition. 1 is less than 10. So again print 1, then count plus plus. Then 1 plus 1, 2. This will continue until the count is 9. If count is 9, then print 9 and 9 plus 1, 10. Now again it will check the condition. 10 is not less than 10. So condition is false. So the while loop will be terminated. So the execution of a while loop, the expression is evaluated first. If it is true, statement is executed next. After execution of statement, expression is once again evaluated. If true, then statement is once again executed. This process continues until expression evaluates false. At this point, the loop is terminated. Here is the graphical representation of while statement. When a while statement appears in the middle of a program, if the expression is true, it will evaluate the statement or statement first, and again check the expression. This will continue until the expression is false. If it is false, then it will terminate the while loop and continue to the rest of the code. Now we will see an example for while statement. Here I am going to display the consecutive digits following each number continuously 0 to 9 with one digit on each line. So the output must have the numbers 0 to 9 with one number in one line, right? So first I will write down the algorithm for this. So I have given the algorithm name as digit, so main digit. Then the local data, I have given a variable digit with integer type. Then begin, first initialize digit equal 0. Then while statement, while digit is less than or equal to 9, it have to display the digit, and increment operator digit equal 1 plus digit, and end while n, and finally end the algorithm. Okay, so now we can write the code. I have started with void main. You have to include library functions first to run this code. So here void main, then I have declare and initialize the variable int digit equals 0, then the while statement. In here while digit less than or equal 9. So we can write that in code, while same as the inside of the parenthesis digit is less than or equal to 9. Then open the curly braces because there are two statements in here. Printf, then print the digit, and we have to increment the digit by 1. So plus plus digit, 1 plus digit, and end the while loop and end the main function. In here you can see first we will trace the code int digit equals 0. So while statement check the condition 0 is less than 9, so it can execute. So 0, then plus digit, plus plus digit, so 1 plus 0 1, then again check the condition 1 is less than 9, so it can execute. Then 1 will be print and add 1 to the digit variable, 1 plus 1 2, then again check the condition, and this will continue until 9. When 9 is equal 9, so it can print the 9, and 9 plus 1 10. So 10, again check the condition, 10 is greater than 9, so it will terminate and go to the rest of the code. In here, that is the execution of while loop. In here you can use plus plus digit. Instead of that you can use digit plus plus, because after printing the digit we are incrementing the variable. So this can be plus plus digit or digit plus plus. But when we can use this expression in here also. No need to write two statements. In one statement we can write digit plus plus, but we cannot write plus plus digit in here, because I have explained this earlier also. Plus plus digit means it will add 1 before it prints. So in here when we give the plus plus digit, so this will start with 1, not 0. Okay, I think you can now you have understand how while statement is working. Then the second looping statement is do while. Do while loops are also used in our programs to build iterations. The general form of the do while statement is do, then statement or statements, while, expression in the parentheses, and remember to put the semicolon after the while. Where expression is usually logical expression, and statement can be either single or compound. If it is compound, it must enclosed by curly braces as earlier. The main difference between while and do while is, in here the loop condition is at the end of the loop. In while statement it is in the beginning of the loop. In here you can see the same example we have discussed very first in the while loop. This is the do while version of that example. First, it has declared and initialized the variable count, int count equals 0. Then the keyword do. Next, the statements that has to be evaluated. Then in the end of the loop, we are giving the expression or the condition that have to be checked. So the statements are evaluated once and check the condition. If the condition is not satisfying also, it is evaluated once and terminate. But in while loop, first check the condition. If the condition is false, statements will not be evaluated. But in here, the condition is true or false. Anyway, once the statements will be evaluated. So the outputs of this and the example in the while loop is different. In here, you can see this will evaluated until 10. If it is 10 also, once statements are evaluated and check the condition. So this will print 0 to 10 numbers. But in the while loop, it will print only 0 to 9 numbers, because when it is 10, it will check the condition first and statements will not be evaluated. But in here, statements are evaluated and check the condition. So 10 also prints in here. Every while loop can rewrite as do while, but do while cannot, because in the false conditions. This will evaluated once, but the while loop, it will not evaluated when the condition is false. So the execution of a do while loop, the statement is executed first. Next, the expression is evaluated. If the expression is true, the statement is executed once again. As long as the evaluation of the expression continues to be true, statement is repeatedly executed. When the evaluation of the expression provides false, the loop is terminated and next statement in the program is executed in the normal sequential manner. So in here is the graphical representation of do while statement. When a do while statement appears in the middle of a program, first once evaluate the statement or statements and then check the expression. If expression is true, the statements are evaluated again and again until the expression is false. If it is false, then it will terminate and terminate the do while loop and continue the rest of the code. Now we will see an example for do while loop. Here the same example that we have discussed earlier in the while loop. This will give the exactly same output as the while loop, displaying the consecutive digits 0 to 9 with 1 digit in each line. So first we will see the algorithm. The only difference is in here is the loop. All other are same in the algorithm. Here I have used repeat and until to indicate the do while loop. You can use do and while instead of repeat and until. Repeat, display digit, and increment operator digit equal digit plus 1. Then until digit is less than or equal 9. So now we can write the code. Void main and declare and initialize the variable int digit equals 0. Then for the repeat we can use do, and I have given one statement instead of these two statements, printf percentage mark d and new line character and digit plus plus. I have increased the digit in here, not in the next line. You can use two lines in here as printf and in here digit and the next line digit plus plus, but I have used one statement in here. Then for the until we can use while digit less than or equal 9. So in here I have used curly braces, but it is no need to use curly braces in here because there is only one statement in here. You can ignore the curly braces. If you are using two statements in here, you have to use curly braces. Okay, now we will trace this code. First, int digit is equal 0, so it will print the 0 and 0 plus 1, 1. Then check the condition, 1 is less than 9. So again print 1, then 1 plus 1, 2. Then again check the condition, 2 is less than 9. This will continue until the 9. When digit is 9, 9 is equal to 9, then print the 9 and 9 plus 1, 10. Then again check the condition, 10 is greater than 9, so it will terminate and go to the rest of the code. Okay, I think now you have got an idea how to use do and do while loop in the C programming. The main differences between while and do while loops are: while statement expression is evaluated at the beginning. It checks the condition at the beginning, true or false. But in the do while, expression is evaluated at the end of the loop. And the while loop minimum execution is 0 iteration, because if the condition is false, it will not execute. But in the do while, if it is condition true or false, once the statements will be executed. Then the next looping statement is for. For loops are used in the situations where we know the number of iterations that the loop should run before starting the loop. In general form of the for statement is for inside of the parenthesis initialization expression, then the loop condition and the update expression. After that, the statements that have to be executed. Where a for loop statement contains three separate expressions. The first one is init expression. This is used to initialize some parameter, or we can call it as index, that controls the looping action. Normally this is an assignment expression. Then the second one is loop condition. This is a condition that must be satisfied for the loop to continue execution. Normally this is a logical expression. Then the last one is update expression. This is used to alter the value of the parameter initially assigned by init expression. Usually this can be either increment or decrement expression. The statement of a for loop can be either simple or compound. Now we will see an example and understand those. Now we will see a simple example for loop. In here, for loop which prints integers from 0 to 9. So in here first you can see the keyword for, then inside of the parenthesis three expressions. First one is init expression, then the second one is loop condition, and third one is the update expression. In here I have declared and initialized the variable I, int I equals 0. So the for loop must begin with I equals 0. This is the init expression. Then the second one is loop condition. I is less than 10. This for statement must execute until I is less than 10. Then at last, update expression. I must be increased by 1 in every execution. So we will see how this works. First, int I equals 0. So it will check the condition 0 is less than 10. So it prints the 0. Then it will update by 1. 0 plus 1, 1. Then again check the condition. 1 is less than 10. So it will print the 1. And again update. 1 plus 1, 2. Then again check the condition. 2 is less than 10. Then prints 2. This will go until 9. When 9 is less than 10, so it will print 9, and 9 plus 1 10. 10 is not less than 10, so the for loop will terminate. So the execution of a for loop, the init expression is evaluated first. The expression usually sets a variable counter which controls the number of iterations the loop executes. Then the loop condition is evaluated. If the condition is false, the loop is terminated and the execution continues with the program statement that immediately follows the loop. Otherwise, if the condition is true, statement which constitutes the body of the loop is executed. The update expression is evaluated next. This expression is generally used to change the value of the index variable frequently by adding 1 or subtraction 1 from it. Then return to step 2. This will continue until the condition is false. Here is the graphical representation of for statement. When a for statement appears in the middle of a program, the initialization expression is evaluated first. Then check the loop condition. If it is true, it will evaluate the statement or statements, and after that expression will be updated. Then again it will check the condition. Then the statements will be evaluating and update the expression again and again until the condition is false. If it is false, then loop will be terminated and continue to the rest of the code. Now we will see an example for the for loop. Here the same example that we have discussed earlier for the while loop and do while loop. This will give the exactly same output as those, displaying the consecutive digits 0 to 9 with 1 digit in each line. First we will see the algorithm. Here also only difference is the loop. All other are same. For digit start at 0, digit less than or equal 9, then increase the digit, display the digit and end for. So now we can write the code. In here void main, then in here I only declare the variable. I have initialized the variable inside of the for loop. So int digit, only declaration. Then for loop, for inside of the parenthesis digit equals 0, initialization expression. Then the loop condition, it must be satisfied until digit is less than or equal 9. Then the increment operator plus plus digit and the statement. And then for the ending I have used curly braces. In here also I have used curly braces. If it is 1, that is no need to use curly braces. If it is compound only, we have to use curly braces. This is not necessary. I just put it to explain to you. So in here, and another important thing, each expression is terminated by semicolon in here. So now we will trace this code. First digit equals 0, then 0 is less than 9, then it print the digit and check the update condition. 0 plus 1, 1, then again condition 1 is less than 9, so it print the 1. Then again it will check the condition, 1 plus 1, 2, 2 is less than 9, so it will print the 2. This will continue until 9. When 9 is equal 9, so it will print the 9. Then update condition, 9 plus 1, 10. 10 is greater than 9, so terminate the for loop. I think now you have got an idea how to use for loops in C programming. Nested loops. We have discussed nesting with if-else in the previous lecture. Here we will see nesting with loops. C programming allows us to use one loop inside another loop. All above discussed 3 types of loops can be nested. The inner and outer loops need not be generated by the same type of control structure. It can be same type. For example, for loop inside the for loop, while loop inside the while loop, and do while loop inside of the do while loop. But the inner and out loop can be two different types also. We can put any type of loop inside any other type of loop. For example, a while loop inside the for loop, a for loop can be nested inside the while loop, and do while loop can be nested inside the while loop. In a nested structure, each loop must be controlled by a different control variable because one loop be completely embedded within another. They cannot be overlapped. Now we will look some nested loops. The first one is nested for loops. Here is the syntax for nesting a for loop inside another for loop. And you can see outer loop in brown color and inner loop in yellow color. So first for and the expressions, init expression, loop condition and update expression, and open the curly bracket, and inside of that in yellow color you can see the inner loop, and after that the statements in outer loop, and it will close by curly braces. This is an example for nested for loops. In here you can see this is the outer for loop, and this is the statement for outer for loop, and this is the inner for loop. And in here you can see outer for loop variable is I and inner for loop variable is j. This is the program for print the output like this. Now we will trace this and see how this works. First, int I equals 0 and I is less than 10. Until I is less than 10, this inner loop and the outer loop statement will be executed. So in here first I is equals 0, 0 is less than 10. So it's going to the inner loop, j is equals 0. Now j and I both are 0. So condition is false. This will not execute. But the outer loop statement is evaluating. So it will go to new line and again go to update condition in for loop. 0 plus 1, 1. 1 is less than 10. So in here now j is 0 and I is 1. So j is less than I. So it will print 1 star and update the j, 0 plus 1, 1. And printf condition in the outer loop will be executed. It will go to the new line. And again go to the update condition in outer loop. 1 plus 1, 2. 2 is less than 10. So in here now j is 1 and I is 2. Condition is satisfied. So it will print 2 stars. And again j will be updated by increased by 1, and again go to the printf statement in outer for loop. So it will go to new line. This will continue until the 9 stars will be printed. The next one is nested while loops. In here you can see a syntax for nesting a while loop inside another while loop. You can see outer loop by brown color and inner loop by yellow color. You can see while condition and open the curly braces for outer loop, and inside of you can put inner loop and statements for outer while loop and close the curly braces. This is an example for nested while loop. In here you can see this is the outer while loop, and this is the statements for outer while loop, and this is the end of the outer while loop. So this is outer while loop and this is the inner while loop. In here also you can see I have given outer counter for the variable that for outer while loop and inner counter variable for inner while loop. And this also give the same output as the nested for loop. So we will trace the code and see. In here first in outer counter is equal 0. I have declared and initialized the variable before the while loop begins. So now outer counter is 0, 0 is less than 10, so it is satisfied, and inside of that I have declared and initialized the inner while loop variable. Inner count is equal 0, so both outer count and inner count is 0. So the inner while loop condition 0 less than 0, this is not satisfied, it is false because 0 equal to 0. So this will ignore and go to the outer while loop statement, because outer while loop condition is true, so it have to execute the condition statements inside of outer while loop. So print new line, it will go to the new line, and outer counter variable increased by 1, so 0 plus 1 1. Now outer counter is 1, 1 is less than 10, it's okay. So now inner count is again 0, outer counter is 1, 1 is 0 is less than 1, so it will print 1 star like this and increase our inner counter value by 1. So now inner count is 2, and now that inner while loop is okay, then go to the outer while loop statement, go to the new line, so it will go to new line, and outer counter value increased by 1, so now this is 2, so 2 is less than 10. Again now inner count is 1, so 1 is less than 2, it will print 2 stars and again go to new line. Like that this also continue until 9 stars print. Next, nested do while loops. In here the syntax for nesting a do while loop inside another do while loop. In here you can see outer loop by brown color and inner loop by yellow color. So in here do and open curly braces statements for outer loop, then the inner do while loop and close the curly braces and while condition for outer loop. We will see examples of these nested loops in the practical sessions. Now you get the idea how to use them in C programming. We will get more idea and do practicals and get more knowledge about these things in practical classes. Then we will see about the comma operator. The comma operator is used primarily in conjunction with the for statements. This operator permits two different expressions to be appear in situations where only one expression would ordinarily be used. It means when writing a for loop, you may discover that you have more than one variable that you would like to initialize before the loop begins. Or perhaps you may have more than one expression to be evaluated each time through the loop. To do this, you can use the comma operator. And in here the slide you can see two examples. In the first one I have used I equals 0 comma j is equal 0 for initialization expression. So I have used comma to separate those two, and then loop condition and update expression. In the next one I have declare the variables first, int I comma j. Then for the initialization expression I is equal 0 comma j is equal 100 and semicolon used for end the initialization expression, and then the loop condition I is less than 10 and that also terminated, and the update expression also I have used 2 plus plus I comma j equal j minus 10 and the rest of the loop. Within the collection of C operators, this comma operator have the lowest precedence. For then all the operators will be evaluated and the last this comma will be evaluated. Then the break statement. The break statement is used to terminate loops or to execute from a switch. It can be used within a while, do while, for a switch statement. And this break statement is written simply as break, the keyword, and the semicolon without any embedded expressions or statements. So this is an example for break statement. Here I have given a for loop. This for loop opens in here and ends in here. So inside of that for loop I have given if condition. After that, in the out of the loop I have given again printf statement. So for x equal 1, the initialization condition, and the loop condition is x is less than or equal 10, and the update condition is x plus plus. Then it checks if this condition is true, it checks if x is equal to 5. If x is equal to 5, is this condition is true, then break. It means it will not going to continue this statement. It will terminate it and go to the out of the loop. So for loop is ending here, and it will print broke out the loop at x equal 5. Next, the continuous statement. The continuous statement is used to bypass the remainder of the current path through a loop. The loop will not terminate when a continuous statement is encountered. Rather, the remaining loop statements are skipped and the computation proceeds directly to the next pass through the loop. Note, this is important distinction between continue and break. The continuous statement can be included within a while, do while, or a for statement. The continuous statement is simply written as the keyword continue and the semicolon without any embedded statements or expressions like break statement. So you can see an example for continuous statement in here. In the for loop I have given int I equals 0, I is less than 10, and I plus plus. This is for printing the numbers 0 to 9, and inside of that I have used if the statement. If I is equal 5, then continue. In here, when this is executing, when I is equal 5, this will print 0 to 4, and when I is equal 5, this will continue. So it will skip the printf statement and again go to the next one. I is equal to 6. This will not print I is equal to 5, because when the value of variable I is 5, the program encountered a continue statement which makes the control to jump the beginning of the for loop for next iteration by skipping the statement in the current position. So it will not print printf for 5. It will print 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, from this lecture I have discussed about how to use looping structures in C programming, while, do while, and for. So I have discussed most of the control structures that we are using in the C language: if else, switch, while, do while, and for, with those with the nesting also. These are actually theory parts. We will discuss some more things about those in the practical sessions. And I have uploaded the PDF version of these slides and a simple worksheet for this part. Find those and try to write the answers for the worksheet. And also use the reference books, and you can go through the third lecture, the part 2 of fundamentals of algorithms, again for more explanations. If you have any doubt or anything you cannot understand, you can contact me through the email. I have given my email address as usual in the first slide. Thank you.